everybody doing? We are here to do just a small lesson on English conversation. So the way this works, again, if you are not familiar with this, is if you ask me questions in the chat, I will respond. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a simulation of a real English conversation. It's not perfect, of course, but it does let you kind of interact and talk with a native English speaker. So if you leave a question in the chat, or if you say something in the chat, I will try to read it out loud. And I will try to make sure that you are understanding what I'm saying. So we have some people coming in here. Rachel says hi. Jenny says, how are you today? I am fine. Kuhn Woodrow is here saying, hello, Bob. Hello, Kuhn. Lolly is here. Hi, Bob. Hi, Lolly. Elena is here. Hello, Elena. Welcome back again. Elena used to live in Canada. That's what she told me. Gloria. Hi, Bob and everybody. This is Glory from Colombia. Hello, Glory, and welcome to the live stream. Dark Blue is here. Hi, Bob. Good evening and good morning, everyone. That's a good way to put it. And N Singh is here and says, hello, teacher. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Arthur from Peru. It's a great night here in Canada. I hope that you had a good Saturday. I hope if it's Sunday morning, you have a cup of tea. I decided for this live stream, I would bring my cup of tea this week instead of water. Hello, Rosa says, what time is it? It is 7:20 p.m. here, Rosa. And Abdallah says, hello, good evening, Bob. Altamir says, hello from Brazil. And Cesar is here again. Hello, Cesar. Hi, Bob. What's new, friend? So there's not a whole lot new. I had a nice Saturday. Earlier this morning, my wife and I went to the seed store and we bought some seeds. I'll hold these up for you. We have way more packages of seeds than this, but we bought some sunflower seeds, and my son bought some bean seeds. He's going to grow a small garden this year. So for those of you that don't know, my wife Jen and I have a small flower farm. So I teach during the day, and then during the summer months we grow flowers. You can actually see behind me, there's some flowers coming out of the ground. Marcelo says, hi Bob, great weather behind you. It is great. I'll show you guys in a minute a little bit more. Vamos says, hello again. Nanya says, hi Bob. Mr. Siraj says, hello teacher from Burma. Awesome. I don't know if I've had a student from Burma. Zabi is here, says, hi Mr. Bob. Lolly says 1:23 in France. That is early in the morning. Yasin is here. Hello, Yasin. Thanks for the pictures that you've sent me. And Rachel says sunflower. Yes. And Vamos says in New Zealand it is 11 a.m. So it's already Sunday. Behind me, you can kind of see. Let me tilt you guys down. You can see these are called peonies. So these are peony bushes. And there are one of our first flowers that comes in the spring. They'll turn into a big bush, and they'll have lots of really beautiful flowers on them soon. So peonies are one of the first things that pop out of the ground. And we grow them. You can see that we have black fabric on the ground. We do that because of the weeds. So any of you that are familiar with growing things will know that sometimes you have weeds, right? So let me answer some questions here. How far do you live from downtown? So depends. My nearest town is 15 minutes away. The nearest city is about 45 minutes away. So hi Uu, nice to see you again. Hi Paul Jean Bernard, and hello Mapuka, and John Lee is here too. How are all of you guys doing? So bought some seeds today. We obviously have far more growing than that. Let's take a little walk for a sec. So over here, you can see, hi Clive, there's lots of small trays growing away in the wagon. Some of you were interested in that last week, so that's kind of fun to see that starting to grow. And some of you ask if I can show you the river every week. That's no problem. I can do that as well. If we walk over here, you can have a good look. You can see that it's still flooding. So we still have some flooding going on behind me. The river is still pretty high. It has been raining a lot here in Ontario, Canada, more than normal. So farmers are starting to get anxious. When you're anxious, it means that you're starting to worry about stuff. So because the fields are so wet, farmers are starting to get a little bit worried because it's hard to get large equipment on the field when it's this wet out. So Jen and I are a little worried as well because all the little baby plants that I just showed you, they have to go in the ground at some point. They need to be planted. So hopefully, hopefully it stops raining. You know, it hasn't ever rained during a live stream yet, has it? I was worried that tonight it would rain. So anyways, that was some small talk. Did you see that? A lot of you watched my video from this week where I talked about small talk. So that was a little bit of small talk. You can see that I talked about the weather. Let me go back here. Uu says, things look great. Farm looks great. Arthur says, oh my. You know, Zaza, you said I have a green thumb, and in English that means that you're good at growing stuff. But I'll tell you a secret. It's actually my wife, Jen, who has the green thumb. I'm good at driving the tractor, and I'm good at fixing things and building things. But it's really my wife who has the green thumb. John says, beautiful backyard. Marcelo says, hey Bob, I've always thought town and city were synonyms. Are they synonyms or are there differences in the meaning? Yes, actually there are. So small villages are called towns. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but a city is way bigger than a town. Usually in my world, a town has 1 or 2 gas stations. It has 2 or 3 restaurants. Maybe it has 1 or 2 grocery stores. We would call that a town. Whereas a city is way bigger than that. So a city would have, you know, probably 20 grocery stores. A city would probably have 100 restaurants. So there is definitely a difference. But downtown is a different thing because big cities can have a downtown area. So that, hopefully that helps Marcelo. Yao says, hello, Bob. Lila says, what an amazing place. I live in the countryside, so I'm also surrounded by nature. So that's how we would describe this. You can hear the birds chirping. I am surrounded by nature. So Kazim says, hey, Bob, what's the difference between just and only? I don't know. In some sentences, I'll say, when I make tea, I only put in a small amount of sugar, or I just put in a small amount of sugar. It's kind of a filler word. It doesn't matter which of the 2 you use in that situation. And I think that's the question you're asking, because when I speak, I use the words just and I use the words only a lot. So there's just 1 gas station, or there's only 1 gas station. That would be the same. That would mean the same thing. And I just wanted 1 sip of tea, or I only wanted 1 sip of tea. That would mean the same thing as well. So let's see if we have any questions here. Ensing says, well done. Roy says, hi. Hello, Roy. Yasin says, how come Toronto isn't the capital of Canada? I don't know. It's a great city, but Ottawa is the capital, and Ottawa is way further north and a lot colder. Lolly says, cannabis, or also called marijuana, has been legalized in Canada. What do you think about it? Well, I'll tell you this, Lolly. I don't put anything in me that changes who I am. So I don't have any desire to smoke cannabis. I like who I am, just the way I am right now, and that's good enough for me. So Kuhn says, beautiful garden. Dark Blue says, you're good at supporting your wife. Yeah, there's actually a term on a farm. The person who helps on a farm is called a hired hand, and it's kind of a joke between Jen and I. I always say that I'm the hired hand on the farm. I'm just a guy that comes and helps out a little bit, but I do a little more than that. But the joke between us is that I'm the hired hand. Google says Pakistan. Ooh says, nature behind you beautiful, and I think the nature of Canada looks great and clean air. So Ooh, we have students in my school who come from China, and sometimes they'll comment on how the sky is so blue and the air is clear. So part of it is just where I am in Canada. We have large cities where the air isn't great, but generally, usually the sky is nice and blue, and things are fairly nice here. Lila says, I live in a town. Marcelo says, thank you. No problem, Marcelo. Lolly says, town and village are same meaning. So town and village are probably the same. I think that you could say you live close to a small town or a small village, and you could use both. Village is a bit of an older word, so you might sound a little bit old-fashioned if you use the word village, but I live close to a village, but I call it a town sometimes too. I'm sure you guys probably have the same things in your languages, right? Where you use words interchangeably. Elise Pasteur says, how come you're both farmer and a good teacher, a jack of all trades? I always say it's because I had good parents and they taught me a lot. So I grew up on this farm. So when I was a kid, I milked cows and I took care of cows. Milking cows is when you milk cows. I'm not sure if you're familiar. We had machines though that did it. So I grew up on a farm and I learned a lot about farming from my parents, but I also had an uncle who was in construction. So he built houses. So he would take wood and he would use that wood to build houses, and I worked for him during the summer, so I learned how to do that as well. But I always liked being in school, and I really liked learning French, so I went to school to be a French teacher, but I also teach computer studies and English. So jack of all trades, I don't know, a little bit maybe. Fabiola says, good morning teacher, good morning, how are you? Arthur says, yeah, we've learned about the word downtown in your video. Yeah, that was a fun video to make. You know, the downtown video, it's one of my most popular videos. People love it, but they always ask when they watch the downtown video where all the people are. And there's not a lot of people in a small town on a Saturday morning in the middle of the winter because it's cold. A lot of people are inside. So I promise I will go and make another video in that town when it's a little busier out that way. So, hi Bob, I'm watching you hoping that someday I can understand everything you're saying. So that's from TV. TV, I think you will understand everything if you keep working at it. Also, if you watch these live streams the day after, there's automatic subtitles. They're not perfect, but there are subtitles tomorrow. So you can come back and watch it again. I have the only son, not just. Yeah. So when you use only in that way, Elena, it means just one, right? I mean, there I used the word just again. Amir says, hello, Bob. Hello. Clive says, what does making a day of it mean? So, Clive, let's say my wife and I, we're going to go to the seed store. And let's say that one of my kids wants to go to the clothing store. And let's say another one of my kids wants to go out to eat. And another one of my kids wants to go buy a toy. So now I have so many things to go out and do, I might as well just make a day of it. Which means instead of running around and trying to get home quickly, you just take your time and spend the whole day doing all of those things. So that would be what making a day of it means. Yasin says, what does these terms mean? Or what do these terms mean? Made my blood run cold. That means you're scared. So if something makes my blood run cold, I would be scared. And Callum and scared for life. Scarred for life. Okay. So if you're scarred for life, so a scar is if you cut yourself. I actually have a scar right here. You probably can't see it. When I was a kid, I cut myself. So I have a scar here. But when you say scarred for life, it means something bad happened to you. And in your mind, you can't stop thinking about it for the rest of your life. So that would be, let's say you were in a car accident, a really bad car accident. You could be mentally scarred for life, where cars just scare you all the time now because you're always afraid that you're going to have another accident. So hopefully I explained that pretty good. We'll see. Let's see here. Abdallah says, how can I recognize these words? Ladder, letter, leader, leather, ration, and Russian. So a ladder is something that you climb up. You can't see my legs, but they're going up and down too. And let's go back here. A letter is something that you write. A leader is someone who is in charge of people. Leather, this is cotton, but leather is, you can have a leather jacket that's made from the hide of a cow. And then a ration is just a certain amount of food. And Russian is a person from Russia. Lolly says, great answer. Google says, I'm making my grandmother's lasagna recipe. Unfortunately, yeah, that's just weird, Google. I'm gonna probably kick you out of the chat. Just give me a sec here, guys. Ignore Google. He's making fun of us in the live stream. So we'll get Google out of here in a sec. So Blanca says, hello from Argentina, thank you. Let me just get this person. Looking to see. What's the difference between looking? It's a little challenge here. Let's just all politely ask Google to leave the live stream. It's probably someone I know who's being silly. So we don't want that one. Yeah, let's just ignore Google. We'll keep going. What's the difference between look and seem? So something can look funny and it can seem funny, and it would mean the same thing, HL. So the difference between this person seems angry or this person looks angry would mean the same thing. So I wouldn't worry about that. I can hear yeah, there's definitely birds ooh for sure. John Lee says, Bob, how about town and township? What's the difference between these two words? So a town is the actual place where there are houses, but in Canada, in Ontario, a township is a bigger area. So a township can include both the town and the countryside, and it could be the township of, I don't know the name of a township, but it could be, that's what the whole area. So Cesar says, do you have a school? Maybe I did not hear you well. So I teach, Cesar, I actually teach at a school. I'm a high school teacher here in Ontario, Canada. People ask if I have an online course, and I don't actually have an online course. So I'm just trying to see, there's a cat over there. I'm not sure if it's going to come and visit us. Maria, parlez-vous français? So, je sais pas exactement si tu parles à moi. Moi, je parle un peu français. Yes, a little bit. Abdallah says, what's the difference between and among? So between is, if I hold this cup, I'm holding it between my hands. So this is in between my hands. But if I was to put the mug down with other mugs, it would be among the other mugs. So this is between. And if you have a whole bunch of them, it would be among. So it's a little bit to do with quantity. I think that explains it a bit. Vamos says, Bob, when you're talking about the goals, which could be a good collocation, you set goals and you achieved it. So goals are important. I think it's important to have a daily goal when you're learning a language, and a weekly goal and a monthly goal. So I think it's important to set those. Hi, Jen. I have someone in the chat again who's being mean. I have to figure out how to get them out sometime. So, no, I think it's fine. I'll just keep going. I asked them to leave, so. Oops, I flipped it around. Let me get back the other way, guys. Sorry for that pause. I think I'm getting a little behind on the, here we go. Do you live in a part of Canada where you speak English? Yes, I live in an English-speaking province. Clive says, got it, thank you, no problem. Lolly says, do you use chemicals to grow your flowers? That's a good question, Lolly. We try not to. We do have molds and funguses. So we do, on some flowers, very few, we do have to spray a little bit, but we try as much as possible not to. Jean Bernard says, Teacher Bob, what does mindset? So a mindset is when you decide you're going to think a certain way and you're always going to think that way. So a good mindset would be, I'm going to have a growth mindset or an improvement mindset. I'm always going to try and improve myself. So in my mind, I think everything I do it in a way where I'm trying to improve myself. Hello, Rasim. Hello, Apollio. Google says they're not making fun. They are, and they need to leave the chat. Roy says, hey, Bob, what does flip over mean? And how would you use it? So see this seed packet? I'm gonna flip it over. There, I flipped it over. So that would be to flip over. So you have something one way and you flip it the other way. So this is being flipped over. There are some other small uses of that, but So Kang says, hello teacher, how are you doing today? You are a great teacher and you do everything I appreciate. Thanks, So Kang, you're awesome. Yasin says, how do we pronounce these two terms? Break and break, they're the same. Marcelo says, what subject do you teach? So I teach primarily French and computer studies, and sometimes I teach English. Dark Blue says, still teaching computer science? Yes. Clive says, you like always having mustache on your face. So I have a mustache and I have a bit of a beard. This is the look I'm going for right now. That's what we say in English. I don't always, but I kind of like this right now. Often in the winter, Canadian men grow beards and mustaches, especially if they work outside, because it helps you stay warm. Ooh says, how about house and home? They're basically the same, Ooh. I could say, but a home is more where your family is. So a house is just a building, but a home can be almost any place. Like if you live in an apartment, you can call it your home. And if you live in a house, you can call it your home. It's just the place where you and your family live. Lila says, why did you decide to create this channel? So Lila, I was driving home one night and I heard on the radio that people needed to learn English. And I always wanted to start a YouTube channel. So I thought, I'm a teacher, I'll start a YouTube channel and I'll try to teach English. And here's a little secret. I made 2 videos and I didn't think anyone was going to watch them. And people did, and I was surprised, so I just kept making videos. Cesar says, do you combine the teacher job and it's a challenge, Cesar, but I do have the summers off. Teachers in Canada don't work in the summer. Let me slow down a bit here, people. Zalika, let me go back to that last question. Cesar says, how do you combine your teaching job with working on the farm? I suppose it's a real challenge, even when you have a family as well. So my wife and I, it works out quite nicely. The farm is not busy in the fall and winter. So my wife has a lot of time to spend with the children. And then I don't teach in July and August. I actually have the summer off. One of the benefits of teaching in Canada, let me see if there's a cat over there. No. One of the benefits of teaching in Canada is that you don't work in the summer. So in the summer, I can help Jen on the farm. So it works out quite nice, actually, to teach and farm at the same time. Zalika says, thank you so much for sharing. No problem. Never Nothing says, hi, teacher. Hi, Never Nothing. Could you tell me how many words I need to know to be able to understand almost everything on TV? Less than you think. But still quite a few. I don't know the exact number, but I think if you can learn 3,000 to 4,000 of the most common words in a language, you should be able to read the newspaper and understand some television. It sounds like a lot, but if you learn 10 words each day for a year, in 1 year you would know 3,650 words. That would be a lot of words. Lolly says, is it possible to speak English fluently by studying on my own on the internet? So Lolly, I think that you can do a lot on the internet these days. When I learned French 25 years ago, it was all books and teachers. But now on the internet, you can watch YouTube videos, you can hire someone to speak English to if you want, using FaceTime or Skype. You can find all kinds of websites to read. You can even use apps like Duolingo where when you speak, it kind of decides if you're pronouncing things right. So I think if you're familiar with the A1 to C2 levels, I think you can get to B1 or B2 in English just using the internet. Arthur says, teacher, could you explain? Oh, what's going on here? I'm clicking the wrong things. Here we go. I have to scroll here, guys. You can see the tree behind me now. Teacher, from Arthur left. He says, teacher, could you explain how I can use the expression take it? So the expression is take it for granted. So take it for granted. When you take someone for granted, or when you take it for granted, it means that someone's doing something for you and you never say thank you and you never appreciate them. So a good example would be a lot of times we take it for granted that our parents will pay for the food we eat when we're young. Oftentimes teenagers are accused that they just take it for granted that mom and dad will pay everything. So when you take someone for granted or take it for granted, it means that you're not really honoring them by saying thank you once in a while. Alina says, home sweet home. Yes. Hi, Bob. My name is Pon. I live in Phuket, Thailand. Could you tell us about time in Canada? I mean, sometimes they change time. So we have what's called daylight savings time. So in April every year, the clock changes 1 hour. And then in the fall, in the autumn, the clock changes back. So that's why like the time of my live stream on Friday mornings in GMT, it changed. I keep waiting for the cat to come, but it won't come. So we do change so that it's lighter out at night. So in parts of the world where they don't have daylight savings time, it's probably 8:45, and right now for me it's 7:45. So we have a little bit of a change there. Wendy Wang says, how can I improve my English speaking without a similar partner? So Wendy, that's the one thing where you have to find someone. So you can read and you can listen and you can write stuff and you can have pretend conversations with yourself. But once you get so far in learning English, somehow you have to find someone to talk to. If you're a student, it's good because you can do an exchange and you can go study in an English-speaking country. But the reality is, you really need to find someone at that point. Gloria says, what do your kids think about you teaching us online? Well, earlier today, my son was like, is that where you do your live streams from? So he's normally playing video games in the house on Saturday nights. And he thought I did the live streams in the barn, but I don't. So he was kind of laughing at me. But mostly they're quite proud of me. It's somehow accidentally cool for me as a person with gray hair to be teaching something online. And they're pretty proud of the fact that I have almost 25,000 subscribers here on YouTube. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, there's a button down there. You should click it and everyone should give me a thumbs up. No, you don't have to. If you want to, give me a thumbs up. So anyways, my kids are pretty proud. Let me see. Oh, I'm way behind on the chat, aren't I? I'm going to have to skip a few guys. So Bob, what is your favorite actor? I really like Matt Damon. Uu says, mustache and beard, I look a bit like Santa Claus. Thanks, Uu. Thanks. Thank you for your reply. It's a better way of teaching. Yeah, it's nice. I don't mind sitting here and answering some questions. Any app that can sell. I would recommend Duolingo. Can I help you in the planting? We don't need any help right now, but I appreciate the offer. Hi, Wellington. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Wendy. I think I'm caught up on the chat. I'm still trying to see if the cat's coming. It's not coming. Greetings from Taiwan, says Nathan. And Wendy says, thank you. No problem. So I think this works a little bit for those of you that are looking for someone to talk to regularly. This live stream that I'm doing now works a little bit It's not perfect, but it's free, and I don't want money. Don't send me money ever. My plan is to just keep teaching English this way. You can send me money if you want, but you don't have to. Maybe for a coffee. But anyways, John Lee says, Bob, I'd like to know, does Jen support you to be a YouTuber? Jen very much supports me to be a YouTuber. We are planning on possibly doing a little bit more YouTube with the farm. We might do a little farm live stream once a week for people who buy flowers from us. And my wife Jen is always very supportive. I do strange things once in a while. Sometimes I make computer games. Sometimes I make web pages. I've always had weird projects. This is the project in my life that's been the most fun and has the best return, I think. Do Canadians used to learning foreign languages like we are learning English? No. In fact, Canadians, for the most part, speak English. Some of them speak French. And they're they're not really excited to learn another language. I've noticed, I have cousins from Holland, okay, from the Netherlands. My family's originally from the Netherlands. Usually people in the chat, like, they go shout out to the Netherlands. My parents came to Canada after World War II. And so when I meet my cousins from the Netherlands, they usually speak 3 languages. They speak Dutch and they speak a little bit of German, or they speak a little bit of French, depending on whether they're from the north or south. And they speak English quite well. And I find that when I meet people from Europe, they always know a little bit of English and they are excited to talk English. But Canadians, I don't know what it is. I guess once you know English, you don't feel the need to learn another language. And I think that's sad because I've told you this before. I don't think English is the best language, but it's the one I know. But I think in order for the world to be a better place, it's nice when we learn each other's languages. It's one of the reasons why I like speaking French, because I've learned a little bit about other people in the world. So I'm glad you guys are learning English though. Charlo says, don't worry, sir, the gray hairs look good on you. Yeah, that's what my wife says too. Kazim says, hey there, Bob from Kurdistan. Hello, Kazim. Abby says, good morning, Bob. Roy says, do similar and akin have the same meaning? So that is similar to that, and that is akin to that. They do, but we don't use the word akin very often. So similar is used all the time. So you would say, you know, this car is similar to this car. But the word akin is an older word. You might see it in a book. You might hear it on TV, but it's pretty old. So I wouldn't use the word akin. I would use the word similar. And Yassine says it's night here. Abdallah says, sometimes it's complicated for me to understand native speakers as they always use idioms and different expressions that I've never even heard before. Abdallah, that is probably the most difficult thing about English, is we tend to tell mini stories in our stories. So we use all of these colorful phrases and idioms and sayings, and it makes it really difficult to understand English. I use them all the time. And in the live stream yesterday, I talked about some of the sports ones, like when you hit it out of the park, or it's in the ballpark, or or if you drop the ball, or keep your eye on the ball. And in English, we're always using these phrases, and it's not very fair, and I'm sorry, but it does make it a really interesting language. And what you need to do is you need to learn a lot of them. So I think YouTube is a great place to find videos about idioms, about sayings, and about phrases that English speakers use all the time. I think it was a good decision to bring tea. This is peppermint tea with a little bit of sugar in it. I think that was a great choice instead of water. Let's see what we have here. Rachel says, gray hair in Taiwan is popular. That's nice to know. Yasin says, why don't you speak with us on YouTube face-to-face? I guess, Yasin, it's just difficult to, on Skype and FaceTime, you can talk face-to-face. And I know it doesn't sound very kind, but I don't have time to talk to that many people outside of my job and raising kids. I have time. I have 73 people watching right now. I have time to sit for an hour, and I just think it's a better use of my time. I hope it works, but someday maybe I'll have a service, but right now I'm just happy to do this, and I'm just gonna keep doing it. It's lots of fun. Alan says hi from Taiwan. Hello. Bob, my question was more asking about vocab to talk about goals. Oh yeah, Vamos, sorry about that. So vocab to talk about goals, do you mean goals in a sport or do you mean goals in life? Because in life you set goals, you try to reach your goals. You always look towards your goal. And a goal is something, like if your goal is to be fluent in English, you set that goal. And then what you do is you just make sure you think about that goal and you try to attain that goal. You try to reach that goal. So I'm not sure if that helped. Dark Blue says Oranje boven. I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds a little bit Dutch, but I don't speak Dutch. So it might be orange cow. Is that what it means? Orange cow? OO says, when I find someone to talk with, suddenly the vocabulary disappears when I need them, and this is frustrating me. So that is a challenge. That is a difficulty, that when you are sitting by yourself and you're practicing English, it's really easy sometimes. And you think to yourself, I'm thinking in English, I'm speaking in English. And then when you find a native speaker, you get flustered or frustrated. So when you're flustered, it's like you don't know what to do next. And when you're frustrated, you can't think of the next word to say. So the best thing for that is practice. And I don't know how to help you find someone to practice with, but the more conversations that you can have with someone in English, the easier that will get. But I know what you mean because my first conversation on Skype in French about 5 or 6 years ago, all of a sudden I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember my French. Thankfully, when I went for my French testing, when I went for my B1 and B2 French certificate, I had practiced speaking French with a couple of different speakers, and it was a lot easier. So you just need to practice. Abdullah says, I know how to introduce myself in 7 languages. Am I a polyglot? I guess so. You're a polyglot at introducing yourself, but I wonder how much further you can go in those languages. China here, we must do it. Ooh says, wow, that's awesome. You're so smart and strong. You can speak a lot of languages. Yeah, that is cool. That is very cool. Abdullah says, I love tea with peppermint. It's yummy. I love tea. China, thank you for the tea. And India and wherever else tea is grown, I thank you very much. I love tea. Roy says, let me see what Roy says here. Put my hand up. 75 people. Hi, 75 people watching. What's the difference between rise and raise? So in the morning, you can watch the sun rise. So the sun comes up over the horizon. Actually, right there, the sun will come up in about 12 hours and it will rise. But if I do this, I am raising this cup. So you can see that I'm making the cup go up. The cup isn't rising, but I am raising the cup. So I'm the person making it happen. If I stand up, you can see that I rise out of my seat, and then I can sit down again. So I think the difference is a person needs to raise something, and something on its own can rise. That would be my guess. It was perfect. Thanks a lot. Awesome. Riyadh says, hi man. Hi Riyadh. What time is it in Canada now? It's 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. You can just see it's starting to get a little bit glowy out here. The sun's starting to go down. An Yun says, hi Bob, I'm from Vietnam. I'm learning English for a very long time, but my accent is not very good. So An Yun, I think that's how you pronounce it, or close. The problem for you is the vowel sounds and the consonant sounds that you're used to making in your own language are a little bit different than the sounds you need to make in English. So you'll need to find a YouTube video that tells you, where to put your tongue in your mouth and how to form your lips in order to make certain sounds. Because you know, to make an O sound, ooh, or to say the, there's ways where you can watch YouTube videos where they show you how to physically put your jaw and your tongue in order to try and make that sound. So I would suggest you watch some of those videos. Very, very helpful. Do I have any Kurdish friends in Canada? I don't, Kazim, sorry. You know what I really need to do is I need to get to a city like Hamilton or Toronto, and I need to connect with people from different parts of the world, because most of the people I know who live around me are from either Canada. I know people from China who are recent immigrants. I know people from Vietnam who are recent immigrants. And I know people from Italy, people from Greece, and people from Holland. That's really the people who have settled in this area. And during the summer, sometimes people from Jamaica. Dark Blue says, wait a sec, I think I missed your... Ooh says, I love learning English. Awesome. Dark Blue says, hey, yes, I wanted to send you a Dutch call. That was the meaning of long live the kingdom. Okay. You know, what's sad, Dark Blue, is my parents came from Holland and they still speak Dutch, and they didn't teach me Dutch. I don't speak any Dutch. They decided when they came to Canada that all their kids, when they were born, would learn English. Bassicorn says, hi, Bob. What province do you live in? I'm in Ontario. And in Canada, you say province. Yeah, so I live in the province of Ontario in Canada. OO says, I'll try again. Thank you, teacher. No problem. Never nothing. First, I was learning English everyday apps lesson on YouTube, but when I realized that I can understand English a little bit, I started just watching interesting videos instead of lessons. That is great. That is a good route to go. When you get to a certain point in a language, you need to challenge yourself. So if the lessons start to become easy, you should start to watch English television. And if that gets easy, you should watch reality TV, where people speak at their normal rate. Let me see here. How can I improve my accent with practice? Bob tea is really popular, especially in the morning and evening. I drink 5 to 6 cups of tea every day. Fong Do says, I love your lesson. How can I improve my accent with practice? Lolly says, goal, aim, objective, target. Are they interchangeable? So my goal is to learn English. My aim is to learn English. My objective is to learn English. My target is a little more time sensitive. Like you could say, my target is to learn 50 new words by next month. So that would be a target. A little different. Ophelia says, good morning. Good morning. Uu says, maybe I will forget about vocabulary sometimes. It's hard work when I need to speak it. So a good thing to do with vocabulary is use it right away. It can be hard, but if you watch a YouTube video, let's say you watch my video about a downtown, it would be really good to take your phone and actually go downtown in your own city or town, and then watch the video and use the sentences in your own town. That would be a great way to do it. Abdallah says, when I first tried to speak English, I felt like I had a stuttering or something. My mouth kept opening and closing spasmodically, but eventually it turned out to be a piece of cake. Yeah, when you first try to speak, it can... So stuttering is when you have trouble getting the words out. That's what Abdallah is talking about. So Kang says, I want to know what time is it in Canada now. It's just a little bit after 8 p.m. You can see the long shadows. You see the long shadows behind me because the sun is just starting to go down. Flavio says, what can I do to think in English? You have to repeat things in your mind. There's a technique called shadowing where you listen to someone say a sentence and then you say it yourself as if you're that person. That's really good. Flenham says, what's the difference of a past sentence and a past sentence with VE? So that's a tricky one, Flenham. I won't be able to explain that without a whiteboard. So I'm just going to keep moving along. Sorry about that. Bob, Appetite Bob, I'd like to know that how often do you come to live chat? Live chat Friday morning and live chat Saturday nights so far. Those are the 2 times where I do a live chat. My time, Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Friday morning and 7:20 p.m. Saturday night. Yassine says, Mr. Bob, how can I communicate with foreigners to practice my English? You have to find them. You have to find people who are willing to sit and talk with you. Sometimes you can find people who are just excited. There might be a language club in your city. I know in Hamilton, Ontario, there's a language club where you go and you wear something that says, I speak this language, I want to learn this language. And all different people come to the club. And you can find someone who maybe wants to learn your language, and you can speak to them. Amin says, hello, sir, how are you? I'm good. How can someone who speaks English to speak with him? Yeah, it's just, you have to find people. It's so hard. I feel bad. Are there different accents throughout Canada, asks Roy. I mean, like in the United States? Yes. There definitely are some. People from the East Coast or Newfoundland have an accent. And that's really about it. It's pretty much the same. Yasin says, look at the sun behind you. It's really awesome. Yeah, it's starting to glow on the trees. Amin says, and how can you help in this point? It's tricky for me to help. Charlo says, I actually feel the same thing. I know in myself that I can speak English. However, every time I'm talking to a native English speaker, I feel like I haven't known any English words. It's so tricky, Charlo? It's just hard. Good practice. Pretend to have conversations before you actually have them. That's another way to do it. The nature's beautiful. What do I eat for breakfast? Susan Hong says. So usually I have oatmeal and 2 boiled eggs and a cup of decaffeinated coffee. That's my normal breakfast. Gloria says, I must say I looked for a teacher with your method for so long. It was great when I saw your downtown video. Thanks, Gloria. And I was so happy. Thank you so much for helping us. No problem. The people of the Netherlands are speaking English as it is their second language. Yes, I've been to Amsterdam for a few weeks and I did improve my English with them. Yes, that's what I noticed when my cousins come. Do you go fishing much? I don't go fishing very much. Flenham says, Bob, what countries do you want to visit? So here's the countries I want to visit. I want to visit definitely Europe, definitely Southeast Asia, Thailand, Japan, China, Taiwan, Australia, even though they already speak English there. But those would be countries I want to visit. And definitely Great Britain. I really like television shows from Great Britain, so I want to visit to see some of the places. Beautiful river. Hi, Bob. Are there tourist places for travelers to Canada? Yeah, there's a lot of places to stay and visit. I'm close to Niagara Falls. A falls is when a river goes over a falls. I'm close to Niagara Falls, and that's a place where a lot of tourists visit. So Marcelo says, in my city, Sao Paulo, Brazil, there is a polyglot meetup. Yeah, cool. It's very interesting. And I think this is the kind of group exists in every country. Check Meetup app. So there are these really cool clubs where you go usually to a restaurant or another place to meet, and people help each other learn languages. So a senior says, hi, Bob. Zimina says, oh, by the way, hello, Asinir. Zamina says, do you know the Prince Edward Island? I have been to the province of Prince Edward Island once. My dad had a cousin there, and we went to visit him when I was a little kid. Good morning, Bob from China. Hello. Clive says, welcome to Taiwan. Thank you. Let's go take a look at the sun, guys. Let's do that for a sec. Let me see if I can get this off. Yes. So right now, you can see my face started to glow because the sun is just starting to go down. And I asked Jen whether we had any flowers to show you guys. We have a few, but there's the sun. It's quite a glow right now. And over here, you can actually hear how wet it is. I'm not sure I should be walking through the puddles. In English, when you step in a puddle and your foot gets wet, we call it a soaker. That's the word for it. Anyways, here's some flowers. So these are daffodils. I think you have them in almost every country. This is our first crop of flowers so far. And we're pretty happy with them. We have some of them picked and ready to be sold. So we don't keep all our flowers, we actually do sell them. I'm just gonna walk through this mud here. See if I can make it back to where I was sitting. But you can also see, I was gonna show you guys this, that a few weeks ago, I showed you that the trees didn't have leaves yet, and they still don't have leaves. We've been waiting and waiting for warmer weather, and it's not coming. So hopefully soon, we have a little bit of warmer weather. Just gonna head back over here and have a seat again. It's actually darker than it looks to you guys. There we go. I think I got it. Anyways, Ooh says, wow, that's so beautiful flowers. Thank you. Jen grew them, not me. Susan says beautiful flowers. Sinir says, I think Canada is a beautiful country. It is a beautiful sunset. Sorry, I'm putting my finger in front of you guys. Ooh says, I love flowers. Ooh, I will show you guys a lot of flowers this year. Slowly but surely. Sorry, I'm losing track of time here. Anyways, are there any more questions? If there's any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I can try and show you one more thing. Just wait. Let's see if we can sneak up on these twin cats. When you have twins, it means that they are the same. So here are two cats that are almost identical to each other. Not sure if you could see them, but those are the cats that when I do a live stream, they always sit and they watch me, and they never come to this side to be on camera. Let's go back a bit here. I love flowers, marvelous place. Where is Oscar? So whenever Jen is working outside, then Oscar is with Jen, always. When Jen goes in the house, and Jen's still working outside right now. Whenever Jen goes in the house, then Oscar comes and hangs out with me. Oh, one of the cats. I think they feel like I've invited them now to the live stream. So, hi kitty. And let's see what else here. Is it cold right now? It's just starting to get cold, Gloria, just a little bit. Kazim says, I have finished work now, so I'm on my way back home. Well, see you, Kazim. Thanks for coming. Alina says, we have the same weather in Russia. Yeah, you must be at the same, what do you call it, latitude or whatever? Same latitude as me, Alina. And Singh says, thanks for your accent. Very clear and polite too. I think I can understand what you said. Yeah, I think I have a fairly normal accent. What I'd like to do is I'd like to ask my brother, John, my younger brother, actually looks a little bit like me and he sounds a lot like me. I think I might invite him over on a Saturday night and ask him to be on the live stream with me and we'll see if you guys can tell the difference between us. Yasin says, make a video about love expressions. Okay, you're gonna hit the hay. So when you hit the hay, it means you go to bed. I'll try. I'm a little shy though. Clive says, so cute, twin cats. Altimer says, what tongue do the cats speak? They speak the same language. They say meow. I want to go to Canadian language school. It depends how old you are. If you are under the age of 18, you can come to one of our schools. But if you want to go to an adult language school, you can probably find one somewhere in Toronto or someone else. Yasin says it's 3:50. Yasin, you should go to bed. It's late, man. It's time to go to bed. Susan Hong, could you say something to Steve? Steve is my 11-year-old boy learning English. He is in school now. He's very fond of your video. Sure. Hello, Steve. I want to tell you this. I think your mom is doing an awesome job helping you learn English. I think that if you are 11 years old, Steve, you have a great future ahead of you if you keep learning English. I think if you can become bilingual, you will have a great job and you will have a great future. I think the world is going to need a lot of bilingual people. And Steve, I think you should do it. I really do. Amin, I hope that works, Susan. You're awesome though, by the way. Amin says, you look, I don't know. I look like I enjoy it. I don't know why. I just like sitting out here talking to you guys. It's a lot of fun. So I plan to keep doing it. Daisy says, hi, Bob. Hi, Daisy. How are you? Ismail says, hi from Indonesia. How many months do you have summer? So summer will start in about a month and it lasts about 3 months. But our fall, our autumn is also very nice weather. So Never Nothing says, do you watch Game of Thrones? I do. Don't tell me any spoilers though, because I'm behind by 1 episode. Edson, I can understand all the things you are talking about, but I can't speak English. It's a little frustrating. Edson, I would say just keep listening. The more you listen, the more your brain starts to, the more you listen, your brain starts to think in English. So that's where you can go from. People always ask the cats' names and I don't know the name of the cat. So who asked that? Let me back up a bit. Rosa. Malua says, or Mai Hua says, I'm from Taiwan. It's cloudy today. Nice. Karen says, I traveled to Niagara Falls. It's beautiful. Jen and I went there a couple months ago. It was really awesome. Abdallah says, do you know any Arabic? No, but I should learn a few words, Abdallah. I have a few students at school who are originally from Egypt, and I should ask them to teach me a few words. Waifan says, evening Canada, morning Thailand. Yep. And Kazim says, right now it's 1:16 a.m. in England. So some of you are waking up. How many people? Oh, there's 88 people watching. Yes, that's a new Saturday night record. 88 people. Usually there's only about 60. Maybe that's why the chat was going by so quickly, because so many people were watching. Do you want to watch the cats fight? Let me move out of the way for a sec. So I don't know if this is a popular thing, but the cats are angry with each other. And just a moment ago, maybe you saw them jump at each other, but the twin cats, this is the first time ever on Bob's live stream. We have twin cats fighting in the background. Maybe I should change where I'm sitting so you can see. Now I'm blocking your view. If they move, I'll jump out of the way. Yasin, thanks for, I made a record. Rachel says adorable. And then the cats are listening to. Yeah, so I think the cats are trying to learn English now, but it's making them angry. So we'll see how that goes. Lolly says, I love cats. Marcelo says 9:20 in Brazil right now. So I'm going to check here. Oh yeah, it's 20 after 8 already. Wow. Time is flying, people. They might be looking for mice, Coon. We actually like having cats on the farm because they do catch mice. It's actually quite nice for us. And rats. So you have mice, which are small rodents, and then rats are a bigger version. I think most people know what rats look like. So Zamina says, what do you think about immigrants? I think that the more people move around the world, the better the world becomes. So I love immigrants. I love it when people move to Canada. When they come to Canada, they are excited. They are happy to be here. They usually quickly learn English. I like it when Canadians move to other countries. I think that, to be honest, one of the problems in the world right now is we don't know each other very well. So I think the more that I can talk to people in other countries and people from other countries can talk to other people, I just think it's better. So I love immigrants. I really do. Charlo watches Game of Thrones as well. Rachel loves cats. Gloria says cats are beautiful, but I prefer Oscar. Oscar! He doesn't want to be in the video today. He's being very shy. So, Becca says, it is so interesting live video. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, no problem. It's fun to do. Clive says, you look happy and positive and give us more power for learning English. I'm happy to do that. I should tell you though, I'm not always happy. I think I'm a pretty happy guy, but I think the fact that I don't like to talk about this a lot, but I had heart surgery and I got better, and I just feel like life is short. That's a saying in English. So life is too short to be angry and not enjoy yourself. So I feel like because I feel good, I should share the fact that I feel good with other people. Tim Liu says, I should wake up earlier. I missed most of the stream. You can watch it later today, Tim. It'll be up as a replay. English is so rare in my country. I might be the only one who says hello in English in my entire family. You should convince your brother or sister to learn English, Abdallah, if you have one. Then there will be 2 of you. Mei Hua says, there are 4 cats in my house and they are cute, very cool. Yasin says, I've got 2 cats. Yasin, you should send me a picture on Facebook of your cats. They're so naughty when I sleep, they keep keeping me awake, and they sleep on my head. Yes. Jenny says, thank you for sharing your life in Canada. I like it, no problem. Let's see what, 89, that's a lot of people. Jenny said, oh yeah, Jenny, I read that already. Sukjai says, good morning, Bob. It's 7 a.m. in Thailand. It's nice that I can join the live stream. Good morning, Sukjai. Becca says, my son Josh would like to say hello. He is watching you. Hello, Josh. I hope that you are being a good kid. I like it when kids listen to their parents and do what they say. I'm not sure if that's what your mom wanted me to tell you, but I think that you should make sure that you are nice to your mom all day and that you do whatever she says and that you work really hard in school. That's what I think you should do. Kazim says, I'd like to enhance my English language in every aspect. So if anyone is interested, let's make group and talk English on a daily basis. That's awesome, Kazim. If you guys can find each other and you can use each other to improve your English, please do that. I think that would be awesome. I know people have asked me to start a group, but again, you know, between YouTube and Instagram and all that, it gets to be a little busy. So, but I'm going to just check one more thing. Ooh says, thank you so much. Susan says, there's an old lady feeding homeless cats in the area where I live. Yeah, sometimes cats don't have a home. But here, what I'm going to say, I know this sounds like I'm cutting things off short, but it has been an hour. I need to wrap this up. It was fun, again, to just spend a bit of a Saturday night talking to you guys. I'm going to say goodbye. So goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope that this helped your English. Don't forget that you can watch this again tomorrow to train your ear. Please do that. Come back tomorrow and watch this again. Read the chat on the side while you're watching it, and hit the like button and subscribe down there if you if you have not. I've been talking for too long. Let's just wrap this up. I'll take a few more questions. I think there's some good ones here. Bob, the word bastard's bad. That is a swear word. So a bastard, if you call someone a bastard, that's a bad word. So try not to use that word, or don't use it. Thank you from Dark Blue. Thank you from Cesar. Thank you from Kuhn and Marcelo, Suzanne, Flamam. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great night. I'm going to drink the last of my tea. And I'm going to go in and start getting my kids ready to go to sleep. And just kind of spend a nice quiet Saturday evening at home. Marcelo, you rock too. Wendy says, have a nice day. Wendy, you have a nice day too. Rosa says, thank you. You're welcome. And there's too many names for me to say thank you. So I'll just say goodbye to all of the people who are watching. Have a great night. And thanks again for watching. Bye. I'm going to push the button now